Hey guys, today I've got a pretty exciting one for you. I've got the Teyes CC2 Plus, which is a 7-inch head unit with 4 GB of RAM and the amazing Teyes Android software. Let's check it out now. So if you watch my videos, you probably already know who Teyes is. I've obviously reviewed the CC3, which was pretty much one of the best Android head units I've ever tested. It definitely has the best software, launcher software, than any Android head unit that I've ever tested. But one of the main things about the CC3 is it's only available in large sizes, 9-inch, 10-inch, etc. And that makes it difficult to install for cars which have a smaller doubled-in enclosure, such as the Saabs that I constantly deal with. Installing a large screen unit means that you would lose access to things like cup holders, or they might cover up other key aspects of the car, such as the climate controls or something like that. So that's when you want a smaller head unit. And as the CC3 doesn't have a 7-inch variation, here comes the CC2 Plus, which is actually its predecessor, which does come with that 7-inch screen that we've been looking for. Please remember, I don't get paid to endorse any companies or products, and my review is going to be totally based on my experience using this product. Right, let's get it out of the box. And here it is. So this basically looks like any other Android head unit. It looks very similar to the Extrons that I've used historically. So you've got your 7-inch display with a very slim bezel around the edge here, and then you have your capacitive touch buttons down the side, along with your reset button and microphone on the front. It's quite a slim head unit. There's not much width to it at all, which is what you get with these newer 7-inch Android head units. You've got a very large heatsink on the back, including a fan to make sure it doesn't overheat, which is pretty cool. And then you have a 4G antenna input, GPS antenna input, the radio antenna input here. You do have coax and optical digital SPDIF audio outputs, which is amazing. So you're getting that real top-end digital audio output if you want it. And then you have the main loom entry point here, and underneath here you can see that it is the 4 GB model with 64 GB of ROM as well. Also in the box you get the standard ISO loom, which will make it very easy to fit into the Saab, a GPS antenna, a 4G antenna, an external microphone, 2 USB ports, another USB port, making 3 total USB ports, a reverse camera input, an audio and video auxiliary input wire, and another main loom, but this one is for manual splicing if you intended to do that. And they've given you a mini screwdriver and some screws as well. So for the first time ever, any head unit I've ever dealt with, this particular unit has no RCA outs, no pre-outs, which is weird. Now obviously I don't need them anyway because I'm going to be using the stock sound system in the Saab, but yeah, maybe that's something I'm going to look into going forward. Right, so here it is, the Teyes CC2 installed in the Saab 9.5. You may have seen my other video which had the Teyes CC3 in the Saab 9.3 convertible, which is actually over there. But this CC2 is specifically for people who don't want a big screen. They don't want to have a screen which exceeds the size of the standard 7-inch. So the CC2 is only 7 inches, and it's actually perfect for this car, because if we went for anything bigger, it would cover the SID screen or the climate control screens that we have here. So it needed to be a 7-inch screen, and if you look, it just looks absolutely perfect. So let's talk about the look and feel. The Teyes gives you RGB capacitive touch buttons on the side here, like most Android head units, but what sets the Teyes apart from other Android head units is the software on them. Very similar to the Teyes CC3, which has some of the best software I have ever seen on any Android head unit. This one is also very customizable as well. So directly on the screen here we have this top corner, we have just a standard clock, time and date, etc. And then we have the icons that we're going to constantly use along the bottom, and they're interchangeable, so you can set them to whatever you want. And then we have some widgets which we've added here. The CC2 gives you several launchers that you can choose from. So this particular one we've chosen because we get to have the Spotify widget and a radio app, which we prefer to the Teyes specific one, which I'll show you later. But if you want to try a different launcher, just hit the launcher button here, and the one it actually comes with is this one here, which you might recognize a little bit more from the CC3. So you've got a little section here where you can navigate. You've got some icons, and this is the built-in MP3 player of it as well. So the reason why we prefer this one is if we just have a look at the radio software, it's all very well and good, but it's very basic. Depending on where you are in the world, if you live in certain countries, you get the artwork for the specific stations, and it just doesn't work in the UK, unfortunately. So what we've done is we've installed Nav Radio, which is this particular one here, and it gives you the artwork for all of the individual radio stations, and it works perfectly well with the tuner built into the Teyes unit as well. Aside from the dashboard here, if we press this, we can go into all of the apps and just flick between all of the apps nice and easy. And then of course the menu options are over here. It's Teyes, so you know immediately that you're not dealing with standard Android menus, you are dealing with something that they have very lovingly put together, really easy to use. You can go into each of these settings, and it's just going to be a joy to set up. So that screen, as I said, is at high resolution 720p, and it has an awesome contrast ratio. This is not a cheap LCD that you normally find on Android head units. It actually is exceptional. So let's talk about speed. Well, it's a Teyes, so immediately you know you're going to have an awesome, very fast optical processor, and you have 4 GB of RAM. So everything runs exceptionally fast. So if we look at Waze, see how long it takes to load up. There we go, sort of instantaneous. And then if we go back and we open Spotify, there we go. So it's practically instantaneous. So we're dealing with tablet speeds here. It's working exactly as it would on your phone or a tablet, not cheap components. It's really good. And from a speed perspective, it's blisteringly fast. It's simply not something that you'd be concerned with. So let's talk about features. It's Teyes, so you know it's going to be packed full of features. It has 4G internet connectivity, which is currently connected to at the moment as I speak. It has a DVR connection, which we actually have plugged in up here, and this is consistently recording to make sure if there's a crash or an accident, it's recording on the head unit as well. It's compatible with the tire pressure monitoring system from Teyes, which we haven't actually got installed, and obviously AHD reverse camera as well is also compatible with this. And then of course they have the Teyes ODB2 reader, which is this app here. This will show you your speed. It's got the battery voltage here, and if I click this button down here, it will show you other things as well, like the engine load and air intake. You know, it's not compatible with everything on every car, but the majority of things do function, which is, it's just a cool thing to have. So let's talk about vehicle integration. The main thing that we look for in older cars like this is that the steering wheel controls work, and that you can set a boot logo to match the brand of the car on the head unit, and then of course if you can set the color of the buttons on the actual Android head unit as well. So Teyes make this very easy. So if we go into the settings here and we go into device and then steering wheel settings, that's it. You can literally press a button on the steering wheel and program it to whatever feature that you want. Amazingly easy, one of the very easiest. But if you have a newer car like my Saab 9.5 new generation, which is based on the Vauxhall Insignia, you can go into car model here and enter the Teyes app, go into model selection, and then you can just choose your car from the massive list that is here, and then you can basically tell the software as well which of these CAN bus decoders that you are using based on what they look like. It literally could not be easier. Really amazing stuff from Teyes in that respect. But how do you set the logo? Well, you go into factory. For some reason they've put this behind a password wall. The password is 168. We scroll down and we find boot screen logo, which is here, and again you have a bunch of selection of lots and lots of different cars. And we have ours set to Saab already because of course that is the car that we are currently sitting in. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the sound quality. Well, again, Teyes use their own high quality components, and one of those high quality components is of course the sound processing unit, and the DSP, the digital sound processor of this unit, is crazy good. And if we go into the settings here and we go into device, sound, and then equalizer, you can see that it has a 16-band graphic equalizer, and we've sort of set it up in this car how we like to hear it. But you can change these sliders however you want. You can use presets up from up here, or you can use a custom setup, which is obviously better. I always recommend that you use custom setup. Under surround, you have the ability to control the delay to each individual speaker so that you can get the correct sound for how you want. Under bass enhancement, you can control the bass separately from the front and the rear. So if you've got different speakers installed in the front and the rear of your car, you can actually set them up individually how you want them. Under field, that's your fade and balance, which you will find in every Android head unit. And then the bass filter will just allow you to control the specific frequency ranges for the front and the rear speakers as well, so that you can control that. So as usual, from Teyes you get loads and loads of functionality, including of course the separate subwoofer control, which allows again to control the low and high frequency bandings. So from a sound quality perspective, this thing, I mean, I can't explain, it just sounds so good. It's one of the best that you can get for sound quality as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, and obviously subscribe to my channel for more. If you have any questions about this particular head unit, please use the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them for you.